Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking right side. He wants it. A comeback cut. It is caught by Kelsey. Touchdown! Kansas City. The game is over. The Kansas City Chiefs are champions. How about those Chiefs?
Welcome to the Kingdom Corner here with Dale and Andrew, coming off a tough loss this week to the Denver Broncos. I mean, I don't know that many people saw this coming, us included. Our scores prediction for this game was way off on both sides of the ball. So, but as always, we want to remind you to make sure you are liking, sharing, commenting on this podcast and sharing it with your friends. We just want to be able to get it out there so more people can hear good, clean Chiefs podcast. So, Dale, what's your initial reaction to this loss to the Broncos?
Yeah. My initial reaction is to overreact and, burn everything red in my house and throw everything out. But I think we just got to take a step back and trust Andy Reid and trust 15. They'll figure it out, right?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah, so as we've discussed before, the Chiefs were on a 16-game win streak against the Broncos, which comes to an end. It's the third longest streak against a division opponent in NFL history. They had the longest road division record in NFL history coming into this game too, which I don't remember exactly what that one was, but all that came to an end yesterday against the Broncos in a cold game where Mahomes was a little bit ill. So guys couldn't catch the ball, couldn't stop the ball, couldn't keep from turning the ball over, and many other things. The one bright spot, Harrison Becker might be the MVP of the team so far this year.
That's right.
That guy has been money from anywhere on the field.
Anywhere. And he's hit some bombs.
Including 60-plus yard ones.
Yeah. He's doing very well. And so hopefully he can continue the hot streak and continue making field goals because I think we're going to need him, especially with our woes in the red zone.
Yeah, I mean, it is bad. So we are 1 for 5 against the Broncos in the first game, 0 for 3 against them in this game just yesterday. And so that is not a winning percentage for anybody.
No.
You can't win games and go 1 for 8 in the red zone.
Right. And also the third down conversion rate was pitiful. I mean, just not normal Chiefs, not normal Kansas City Chiefs. And so something was off. Something was not right for them with going. I think at one point they were like 2-8 at one point in the game, and just you can't extend drives. Obviously, you don't want to be in third down at all, but if you can't continue drives, it just kills momentum. And then your defense has to get back on there, and they had a game plan. Credit the Broncos. They had a great game plan against the Chiefs, and they executed a lot better than we did.
Yeah, so Chiefs ended the game 3 for 10 on third down, so just 30%. They were leading the league in third down conversions coming into this game. Probably not so much anymore, but they were ahead going into this game. They were 1 for 3 on fourth down, so just 33% on that. But ooh, man, I'm trying to figure out where to start to dive into this. So,
let's start from the beginning.
All right,
let's start from the beginning.
So, if nothing else, we hope that this podcast can at least help you calm your nerves and your feelings about the Chiefs. It's going to help us too, I'm sure of it. So, it always does to kind of talk it out and hear people talking it out. So, let's start from the beginning. So, the Chiefs start with the ball. They basically do nothing with it. And then give the Broncos the ball, who go down and score a touchdown on their first possession.
Yeah, first opening drive touchdown the Chiefs have given up all year. So,
yeah,
that was a bad start.
It was not good at all. So, the Chiefs again go the second half. Maybe not again, but they go the entire second half without making any adjustments for the most part, and end up with 0 points in the second half while giving up 10 more points in the second half. And the previous week against the Chargers, we held the Chargers to no points in the second half, but only ended up with a field goal in the second half. So let's start with that. Is that a problem going forward, do you think, that we're not going to be able to do much in the second half?
Yeah, I think that definitely has got to be fixed. I think I know they're they score most of their points in the second quarter, it seems like. And I think I heard that on the broadcast. They're like the highest scoring team in the second quarter. So, which is great because that shows you like, okay, we see what they're doing. Let's make adjustments and now let's score. But I think that needs to carry on to the third and fourth quarter. Okay, what are they doing now? What have they changed? Because you go in that halftime and the defenses are making adjustments. Maybe not huge adjustments, but they're making like, oh, they're doing this. Let's change this. And so I think they need to do a better job. I don't know if Matt Nagy needs to be up in the sky and watching from a different angle, which I know they probably have guys doing that, but I just think there needs to be better communication down to the field and say, hey, they're playing too high, which what Mahomes has seen since that breakout year. They're just playing too high and making them throw underneath. So maybe we need to throw out our deep plays and just let's just do that short and medium.
So do you think play calling is one of the bigger issues for the Chiefs right now then?
I think so. And I don't know, like obviously we're not in the room, so we're not privy to like what they're calling or what they're doing. But I also think like Mahomes gets frustrated a lot, and you can see it on his face, and you can see it just his body language. He gets frustrated, and so I think he wants to make a play, like get the boys going. So I think maybe that extending just a little bit too long at points, and then it just whatever reason has not worked out this year.
Yeah, no doubt. And so I agree. I think the play calling has not been very good. And now, if they're winning games, we're probably not even talking about play calling, right?
Right.
But the problem is they're not. And many games that they've even won this year have not been won by their offense, has been won by their defense. And so, play calling, man, they got to do something different, right? So they're so committed to the pass, even when the pass isn't working, that they abandon the run, even if the run is working.
Right.
You got to see what the teams are giving you and go with it, right? So it's tough. So, but let's get your overreaction here. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that the Chiefs are still not just a Super Bowl contender, but can win the Super Bowl?
Oh, that can win the Super Bowl. I'm probably at a 7.
7. All right.
Yeah.
I'm probably at about a 5 or 6 right now.
Okay. Well, let's just bump that up to 6 and we're right there. So we'll just meet in the middle. We're at a 6 together. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of teams can't say that, right? A lot of teams now, I think there's maybe like 4 right now that think like, oh yeah, we are going to win the Super Bowl. And so,
10 years ago, we would never have been over a 5.
Never.
Even before the first game of the year, we never would have been over a 5. It's like, they got maybe a 30% chance to win this year.
Right.
So the fact that we can talk about, a high percentage chance to still compete and win a Super Bowl is a good thing.
Yes, it is.
So, Mahomes being frustrated though do you think he's more frustrated with the play calling or with the people he's passing the ball to and the other players, or a combination of both?
I think a combination of both. But I think he's part of the frustration, right? And so I think that's something to look at. And so they'll watch the film and they'll hopefully get better and reevaluate. But I think he's probably. Not like the world star athlete, but I just compare this to basketball. You play basketball and then you make a good pass and the guy doesn't finish the layup. You're like, okay, that happens, right? Maybe the first time, then you do it again. He doesn't make it. Oh man, that's weird. And then the third time it's kind of like, man, I'm not passing you the ball. Right. And so I think that's where the frustration comes to, is like, okay, you drop it. Yeah. Sun in your eyes. It's cold, right? Hit you in a bad spot, don't want
to hit you in the hands. It's too easy.
Don't want to hit you in the hand. That'd be just too. I don't know. Be too easy. And so, I think it's one of those things where I think then it becomes a frustration with the players, And I know one of those, MVS, where it got broken up on the first down, like one of the plays where it was going to be a first down, and he would have caught it. Yeah. And Mahomes is like screaming at him, come back to the ball, come back to the ball. And so it's like little things like that, what you would think MVS would know.
Yeah.
He's this veteran. Yeah. He's been in the league. So, and he's been around Mahomes. This is his second year now, been around Mahomes. And so you kind of know. And so you just standing there waiting for the ball. That just gives the defender even more room to close. You need to close on the ball. And that helps complete the play. Even you're a yard short, I think Andy would have went for it. I don't know if it was a third down, but it would have put your team in a lot better situation than, now it's 3rd and 10 or 2nd and 10. Or 4th and 10, not even a thought about going for it. It happens in your mind. And so we just need to keep ahead of the chains. We keep saying they're going to fix it. They're going to fix it. They're going to fix it. And so week 8, here we go. Is it week 9?
Moving into moving into week 9. So this will be week 9 coming up. So and I think Skyy Moore especially. I mean, I'm not placing all the blame on him for the game, but he had a huge play that would have been a touchdown if he can just simply catch the ball. And I'm thinking 80% of all NFL receivers are going to catch that ball. Maybe that's too much, but it's.
Dude, I don't think that's high enough.
Probably not. Probably more catching it. I was trying to be generous towards Skyy Moore, but honestly, probably 90 to 95% of NFL receivers are catching that because he's got a step on his defender. So, the defender had kind of like hands kind of towards his back, but nowhere that's going to impede with the catch. The ball is perfectly thrown into the end zone. All you got to do is put your hands up and let it land in there, and it's just. Can't find the ball, can't catch the ball, something. But man, that is fresh. And you saw Mahomes put his hands on his head after that. Like,
what do you want?
4th and 2, perfect pass, and he's like, "We got it." And he's like, "What just happened?" That was the touchdown pass that they needed, and Skyy Moore could not come up with it. Right?
Would have taken the lead, wouldn't it have?
Not at that point. They'd already had 21.
It was 21 at that point.
Yeah, 21. They had 21 at that point. So, but either way, I mean, that makes it a totally different ball game if you're within 3 or 4 versus being down by 11. So that's a huge momentum swing. Gives even the Chiefs defense some life because I mean, you can see even the last drive or two. I mean, they're still playing hard, but you can see the defense is like, what do we got to do? Right.
I mean,
they seemed like they didn't feel very confident their offense was going to score, even if they could get a stop.
Right.
And that is not a good place to be as a defender.
No. And I think even like if someone were to tell us the score was 24, the Denver Broncos only scored 24, I would have think like, well, we still that's closer than I thought, but we still won.
Right.
And so I would have, so I'm not in that garbage time field goal was, just to ice it. So, I mean, like, even if you just say, hey, the defense gave up 21, like, okay, we won, but it's probably 28-21 or 24-21, that's a lot closer than we thought, but we still got the dub. And so I think it's like, if your defense I don't think the defense is the problem besides the running, right? I mean, how many yards did they give up yesterday? Do you have the stat with you?
I do. The Chiefs defense?
Yeah, the Chiefs defense. How many running yards did they give up?
Oh, running yards?
Yeah, rushing, yeah.
They gave up over 100 rushing yards. They gave up 153 rushing yards.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, that's where, huge. And I think time of possession was huge. Mahomes was on the bench for the start of the second half for over 8 minutes. And so it's just, it's a lot.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating for sure. Yeah. So, man, that rush, that's my next big question for you.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs only rushed for 62 yards. The Broncos rushed for 153 yards. So it's big, right? And so, how many yards per carry do you think the Broncos averaged yesterday?
I'm going to say 7.
3.8.
Oh, 3.8. That's that's
better than their average on the season.
Oh, wow.
So guess how many the Chiefs rush for per carry?
They average 60, even Mahomes.
Yeah, this includes everybody. So 62 rush yards total.
2.8.
3.9.
3.9. Why don't we run it more?
The Chiefs had more yards per rushing attempt than the Broncos did.
Yeah.
Yet the difference was the Broncos ran it 40 times and the Chiefs ran it 16 times.
Wow. 40 times. I knew they ran it a lot, but 40 times. My 40
goodness. 40 times. Yeah. So, and you might be count some of that up, and some of those yards would be different on the last drive or two when they were only running it, and the Chiefs were getting some, yards for loss there. But even still, I mean, overall throughout the game, the Chiefs had more yards per carry.
Yeah.
And yet we only gave Pacheco the ball 8 times to run it.
Yeah.
That's
and I'm
problem.
not good. I know I went to public school. So if you run it 3.9 times or 3.9 yards a carry,
and
you run it 3 times, is that greater or less than 10 yards?
Well, I'll tell you, Dale, I did not go to public school, but I only went to seminary and they didn't teach me math, but I'm quite confident that I'll give you more than 10.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So, man, yeah, I don't know. And that would have given, if we could have ran it, then maybe we given our defense like a break, a longer break than 4 or 5 minutes. So
yeah, no joke. So yeah, the Chiefs score the least amount that they have all season and give up the most points that they have all season. So
no touchdowns.
No touchdowns, right? It is the first time in about 2 years since the Chiefs have played a game where they haven't scored a touchdown. And only, I think, I have to look again, but it's been less than 10 times for sure that Mahomes has lost a game by more than one possession. So 8 points. I think it's like number 4 or 5. I might be a little bit off on that, but somewhere close to that.
Yeah.
So not many. So yeah, that was frustrating. And I think he was frustrated and all that as well, simply because they could not get anything rolling.
No, nothing.
So here's the question: is there anything we can do to get some of these wide receivers going? And because I think the big thing is they're just not getting open. Like honestly, they're not. It's not the Mahomes. He had all the time in the world for the most part yesterday to throw the ball.
Yeah,
but he wasn't.
Oh yeah,
nobody was getting open. Nobody. Right?
So
they're double or tripling Travis Kelce because they know he is electric.
Oh yeah,
and so you shut him down, and no one else can get open. Right? And when they do, they drop the ball. So where's
Justin Watson at? Where is he at during the second half? I mean, he had some huge catches.
Yeah,
and he just kind of disappeared, or they don't put him in the offense. I don't know what it is. So my suggestion would be trade Skyy Moore, trade McCole Hardman, CEH for D-Hop.
All right. So you say how to fix it is to get another player.
I would say it would be super helpful. And I don't even know if it's D-Hop, right? Because he's probably, I mean, the Titans won yesterday, so they're probably not wanting like, oh, let's trade. They're seeing Will Levis had a heck of a game, 4 touchdowns, And so they might be like, hey, let's not trade him. But they already traded one of their best safeties. And who knows if they are open to the trade. But I think a veteran, kind of sure-handed. But we saw, what was that one guy's name? Flash. What was his name? Marshall?
Josh Gordon.
Josh Gordon, right? Josh Gordon. He never saw the field, right?
Yeah. Well, we got him. And when he did, he didn't look very good.
Right. Now, D-Hop's a little younger and everything like that, but it's kind of like, hey, D-Hop, come on over. Let's rework your deal. Let's get a ring on that finger.
Yeah. Yeah. And he might be for that.
I don't know, but I just think we got to do something. I think D-Hop would be, and the thing would have been like, we should have got him earlier. We should have got him when he was on the trade block, like when he was being shopped. But
when he was a free agent there.
Yeah, but maybe it'd be cheaper for us. Anyway, I think that's how you fix, because I think this. I mean, I hate to be mean. I mean, I'm not, but I just think the Skyy Moore experiment is over. McCole Hardman, yes, he had a great return last week and made 1 catch for 6 yards last week and dropped a ball. But I think we know who McCole Hardman is. I think we know who Skyy Moore is.
Yeah, I think at this point, I agree with you. I don't think Skyy Moore is the answer. I don't think he's going to be who they thought he's going to be.
Right.
But here's the other question, it's the one knock with Andy Reid, right?
Yeah.
There's a couple, I guess not really a question, more of a statement, but the knock with Andy Reid is a couple things. One, whatever his game plan is, he doesn't like to deviate from it.
No.
Right. And so he might make a few adjustments here and there, but not many. And because he wants to stick to his game plan, he's like, this game plan is going to work. So, that's his knock. His other knock is he is overly loyal to players.
Yeah.
Man, and that can hurt your team if there's somebody better, a better option somewhere.
Right.
But he's like, no, this guy's been my guy for however long, so we're sticking. It's just
Yeah.
it doesn't work in NFL very well. I mean, honestly, we are thankful for Andy Reid. I think he's a great head coach, one of the greatest of all time, obviously, and he's brought Super Bowls to the Chiefs, so forever thankful for him. But there is a reason why he was fired in Philadelphia. So, and I know this is like burn the ship kind of statement, right?
No,
but,
yeah.
But there
We're
is
not.
a reason why they decided not to keep him around, right?
Right.
And so, if we don't have Patrick Mahomes, say we just have another all-star quarterback, but not Patrick Mahomes, do we win any Super Bowls?
No. I mean, Pat's the reason. I mean, like, so it's like the perfect marriage, right?
Right.
Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid are the perfect couple. And so in the sports. And so, like, yeah, if Pat's on another team, does he win Super Bowls? Right. I mean, I think that's the same question. And so it depends on which team, right? So
yeah, it does.
So
okay, better question. Who would have a better
right.
chance to win the Super Bowl without the other, Andy Reid or Patrick Mahomes?
I think Andy Reid.
Andy Reid have a better chance?
Yeah, I mean, like, so obviously it had to be the team, but like you got the Bears who picked Mitch Trubisky before Mahomes, right? So if Mahomes went to the Bears, that dumpster fire of an organization, I think so I think Andy Reid would have had a better shot just because of Brett Veach, all the guys around Andy, and then
let's not even consider anybody beyond any team, whether Andy's with the Chiefs or elsewhere. Just just take them for what they are.
Oh, okay.
Who has a better shot?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then Mahomes, right? So Mahomes has a better shot because of the talent he is. But
I want to be clear. I'm not advocating for the firing or getting rid of Andy Reid at all.
It sounded like it. It sounded like it a little bit there.
I know. It probably did sound like it.
Hey, overreaction Monday.
It is overreaction Monday. So, but I say all that just to say this is we all have weaknesses. Every single person, every coach, every player. And Andy Reid's weakness is not wanting to adjust and being overly loyal to players.
Right.
And so I say that to say, does that factor into them not wanting to bring in another wide receiver potentially because they don't want to kick out a guy who they drafted and have been using or trying to use for a few years now?
Well, and I always wonder what Brett Veach and Andy Reid's like relationship is like. Does Brett Veach come to Andy Reid and say, "Hey, I want to do this. What do you think?" Or does he say, "Hey, we're doing this. Make it work"? Some of those GMs and coaches' relationship, like, there's a problem here, and you're too close to the situation, right? To Andy Reid. Andy Reid's way too close to the situation. He sees those guys every day. I know Breach hangs out, maybe walks through the locker room every now and then, but he's fallen not in love with these guys. Andy Reid loves these guys. And so I think it would be hard for me as a coach too, because you care about these guys, their family, you know who they are. And so I think it'd be hard, but I think I'd like to know, like, what's the relationship like? Hey, we're going to do this, make it work. And obviously that's not a good, like a long-term, that's not a good plan for a good relationship long-term, but it's like for the best, it's like parenting, right? Hey, you're going to go to bed at 9:00. Even though you're not going to like it, even though you're going to be mad at me, but this is what's best for you. And so,
you can't have candy for every meal, right?
Yeah, you can't have candy. If we learned anything from Big Daddy, you can't just eat ketchup packages. So you have to learn. You have to sometimes. I think Brett Veach sometimes will have to step in and be like, "Yeah, I understand you love these. You love McCole Hardman. You love Skyy Moore and CEH, but we're trading them. We're going to get something for them."
I don't know what you could get for CEH at this point, though. Honestly.
Well, a bag of balls, at least.
Maybe so. Hey, those things are expensive. I don't know if you ever priced those things out. One ball is like $200 or something like that. And now I'm sure the Chiefs do not have to pay $200 like the average fan does. There's a reason why not many fans probably own those things, but they're not cheap. So
no, they're not.
Maybe they could get some for them.
Yeah.
So about McCole Hardman here. So was it worth trading for him?
I think last week it was. This week it was not.
Last week it was. Yeah. So we talked about, while there's still rumors, and we might even briefly mention this before, while they were still talking about rumors of trading for him, I think we both landed on the side of, maybe a nice addition, somebody that knows Mahomes, but not really something we're overly passionate about pursuing. Then when we got, we're like, okay, glad he's here, not necessarily overly excited, just, good piece. And McCole Hardman is exactly who he was when he left the Chiefs.
Yeah.
When he first started doing punt returns for the Chiefs, he also struggled with catching the ball.
Yep.
Right. And not fumbling. He struggled with running backwards, constantly running backwards,
Right.
whether on punt returns or as a wide receiver, because he saw Tyreek Hill do it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't understand. He thinks he's as fast as Tyreek Hill, and he's not.
No.
Right. That's just
nowhere close.
He is fast, but not nowhere close to Tyreek Hill. And so he saw Tyreek Hill do that, and he learns, like, you know what? I can do that.
Yeah.
So he'd catch the ball as a wide receiver, run backwards, lose 5 yards, and not get the first down when he would have had it to begin with. He just would have gone down. And that's kind of what we saw in a lot of those punt returns even yesterday, is running backwards and fumbling the ball, and not trying to beat him up or anything, but
right.
He just
and it's a different
thought he was.
It's a different kind of fast too, I think, right? Tyreek Hill is unbelievable at the start-stop.
Yes.
To be able to stop and then still pick up and accelerate so fast. I think McCole Hardman's like, hey, if no one touches me, I'm fast.
Yeah.
Right. And
so I can get up to that speed. I just can't start at that speed.
Right. And Tyreek Hill's explosiveness is unreal. And we're going to see it this coming Sunday.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So, man,
I guess that's the question. Did the Chiefs thinking about the Miami Dolphins? Were they thinking about the Miami Dolphins like, hey, we beat this team 16 times in a row. We got this in the bag. We just beat them a week ago. I mean, like, and we talk about all the time about you overlook an NFL team, you're going to get beat. And so, like, what do you think that was part of it? Not only Mahomes being sick, not only being in cold weather and all that, not only being the altitude, but you think the Chiefs overlooked the Denver Broncos?
I absolutely think they did.
Yeah.
I'll never say that. Andy Reid, I don't know that he would have even preached that or said anything about the Dolphins going into the Broncos game. I think he would preach the Broncos and say, hey, this is a team that is good and better than they have been. And I think they thought, you know what, it's been 16 times. I mean, we beat them pretty handily last time. I mean, the score might not have been out of control, but we dominated that game. And so we got this one too. Let's start working on and thinking about these Dolphins.
Yeah.
We got to go over to Germany to play them, and man, it came back to bite them. So
yes, it did. Well, I blame the Green Bay Packers.
The Green Bay Packers, interesting.
They're to blame for this. This is why the Chiefs lost, because the Green Bay Packers are terrible, and they couldn't beat the Broncos last week. And so I think if the Packers would have beat the Broncos, I think you're maybe not coming in this game thinking, let's win. I think they're maybe thinking about Cancun, the offseason already, you know? And so I'm going to say the Packers are to blame for the Chiefs' loss here.
Well, I'll tell you this. The Broncos got new life, and they will compete hard in every game the rest of the year because they will.
Yes, they will.
They will think they can beat and win every game now. Whether they will or not, probably not. But they're going to think that they can, and that's going to make a big difference. So, but here's another question for you. So the fourth down that, Skyy Moore dropped, not to hit that one again, but just generally that idea of somebody being open deep on fourth down when the Chiefs are going for it.
Yeah.
And it's not Travis Kelce.
Right.
Will Patrick Mahomes throw them the ball? Or will he try to do something short and more a higher completion percentage, even if the deep ball seems wide open? What do you think he'll do?
Okay, it depends.
Will he trust those guys to go deep?
Well, I mean, I think it depends
on fourth down.
On 4th and 2, right? Short, 4th and short. Are we going to trust Skyy Moore? I don't think so. MVS maybe, Watson yes, Rashid Rice yes, but Travis Kelce yes, but I don't think it's going to be like at this. He sees Skyy Moore back there. He's like, let's go to Rashid Rice over here and let him get the first down, and then let's live to fight another down. So, yeah, So
you're saying basically everybody but Skyy Moore he would.
Yes, and maybe
What about Tony?
Does he play for the Chiefs anymore?
Well, he does.
I mean,
he doesn't do anything.
So, what happened to his speed? I mean, what happened to his ability to make?
I don't know. They were banking on him being the number one wide receiver,
right?
And they are
still trying
their best.
Still
They're
trying
to scheme for him. Like they call it plays.
Still trying.
They call it plays that are very obviously for him that they're just not converting and doing anything.
He ran right into a defensive lineman. Just ran right into him.
Straight into him.
So, I think the defensive lineman was more surprised than Tony.
Yeah.
That he ran right into him. So anyway, It is, man. It's tough. It's a tough Monday, and so I will not listen to any sports talk radio. I will not listen to any sports talk TV probably until Thursday when they start talking.
Thursday when we start talking about the next game.
Yeah,
I would highly suggest if you're a Chiefs fan, don't want to be frustrated that you also avoid those same avenues,
especially the nationwide ones, because they're going to murder the Chiefs.
They're just going to bash the Chiefs and say how awful they are and that they have no shot. Yeah. That's what.
And they have a lot of things to clean up. But the good news is it's November, and this is kind of when we start separating from others, right? You would hope.
That's the hope. So, question for you now too about fourth down. So there's several times even in the red zone where they get, fourth and short and they're kicking field goals instead. So, and obviously, as always, hindsight is 20/20, right? But when we get to those positions again, we're struggling in the red zone. Do you think if you were the coach, would you go for field goals there, or say it's 4th and 3 or shorter?
Right.
Are you going for field goals or are you going for touchdowns?
And I think it depends on the situation, right? It depends on what's going on. So like that first field goal, I didn't have really a problem with it. Or actually I did. Well, the first one I had a problem with. The second one I didn't have a problem with. And so because you know your team, because you're seeing what's going on, they're struggling, right? Whatever reason, they're struggling in the red zone, especially against this Broncos team. You mentioned 1-5 the game before, then 0-3 this game. And so they're struggling in the red zone. So I think it's like, okay, let's get some points. And then I think the second one was short too. It was not maybe 4th and 5. And I think like, oh, let's just go for it. Right. We just got to put pressure on Denver because at that point, Denver had been controlling the game and we needed to take control of it. And so I think that was one way to do it. So you lose, they're in the red zone. They still have to go 80 yards to score. But yeah, I think it just depends on the situation. So what's happening and how the team's feeling. But I would almost, now I take that back. Almost the first one, I think I might have went for it because they were rolling, right? They marched down that field in no time and got in that position. And they were just, Travis Kelce was just 2 yards short to get the first down. And so I think let's run that play again. They can't stop them.
Yeah. I'd agree with you. I think it just kind of depends on the situation too and what you're doing. But yeah, it's got to be something, right? We got to do something different to get the offense rolling, get them clicking. If you go for it on 4th down and they convert it, maybe give them a little bit of life, a little bit of motivation. You can spark something, whatever it is. But man, you can't just keep kicking field goals over and over again, right? So, but the other big thing we have to talk about is the turnovers, right? There was way too many turnovers. I mean, if you look at the stats here, other than rushing yards, as we already discussed, the Broncos had 153 versus the Chiefs 62. So, blew us away there. But the other side is we decided not to run the ball for whatever reason, even though our lead back, Isaiah Pacheco, only rushed 8 times and averaged 5 yards.
8 times, man.
8 times, averaged 5 yards per carry. And we decided, you know what? He's had enough carries.
That's too many yards. Too many yards.
Let's go ahead and shut him down for the day. No reason to keep running him out there. Or something. I don't know what their thought was, but something like that. But as far as the stats go, the Chiefs are right there or better than the Broncos and everything. First downs, one difference between the two teams. And
that's wild because the Broncos, if you watched it, it just felt like they controlled the game.
Yeah. It sure did. So, anyways, and total yards, the Chiefs had about 40 yards more total than they did. Same amount of drives. They both had 11 drives. The Chiefs averaged over a yard more per play than the Broncos had. The Chiefs dominated in passing. They had 213 passing yards to 87 for the Broncos.
Man.
Russell Wilson, 87 pass yards, 3 touchdowns. That's crazy.
Unreal.
Right. So, but red zone's a big difference too, right? Chiefs 0 for 3, Broncos 3 for 5. Penalties were pretty close to the same, about 1 penalty difference and 3 yards difference in those. So, but the big numbers is, possession. The Chiefs had it for 26 minutes. The Broncos had it for almost 34 minutes. So not too skewed, but still skewed in their favor.
Yeah.
and turnovers, right? Broncos had 1, Chiefs had 5, and
Right.
some of those were in key positions. Some of them were in the red zone. Some of them were on drives where we were moving down the field for whatever reason eventually, and then just giving the ball away. So it was just.
Well, do you count the turnover on downs, the fourth and 2? Wouldn't that be a turnover? Do they count that? I don't think they count that, do they?
No, they don't count that. So if you want to count that, you can add another one in there.
So think about that. So that's 5 possessions we had that didn't end, like either we punt or we kicked a field goal. 3 of those were field goals. So then there's 2 possessions where we didn't do anything with. That's crazy.
Yeah. So if you have 5 turnovers plus the 4th and 2, so you basically say 6.
Yeah.
That means there's 5 possessions in the entire game that we didn't have a turnover. That is crazy, right? Crazy.
That is crazy to think about. I mean, that's wild. I mean, I know we're not breaking any ground here, but I mean, like, that is wild to think about. 5 possessions and 3 of those you kicked a field goal.
Yeah.
Can't win. You can't win.
And I want to point this out too. I don't want to hear anything else from the rest of the year from anybody that the Chiefs get all the calls from the refs. Never again should we hear that. I mean, the refs did not lose us this game. The Chiefs lost this game.
Oh, yeah.
By all means. But that one of those last plays when it is like 4th and 22 or something like that. And Mahomes throws to MVS. The dude was being dragged and pulled on his jersey the entire time the ball was in the air until the interception happened. And then he was thrown to the ground by his jersey again. So
right.
I don't want to hear that the Chiefs get all the calls anymore.
Yeah. Well,
that would have put them, at least at midfield, right? At that position, that time. So huge.
Well, and I thought the biggest one was, which again, not blaming the refs. The biggest one that drove me crazy was when Russ Wilson was sacked on 3rd down. And it was a Minihue that got the sack, and was like, then they called holding down the field, which I know we've benefited from, but it was like 1/1000, and Russ was engulfed. It was so fast that it wasn't like Russ was making time, and all of a sudden then he got sacked. It was boom, ball snapped, everybody's around him, and they took him down. And so then they're like, well, there was holding, and it's like, oh, okay,
yeah. Yep.
So
those are not fun. So as you may know, or maybe you don't know, George Karlaftis is now our leading sack leader for the team. So
he did have a good game. I did notice his number was called quite a bit, and he was relentless with that sack strip. Relentless.
Oh yeah, that dude had himself a game. So 2.5 sacks on the game. So it was probably his best game as a pro potentially so far. So. That guy, he is getting better every week, and glad he's on our team.
Yeah. So let's just remember, folks, as we head out of here, that last year the Kansas City Chiefs lost to the Indianapolis Colts.
Yep.
And then we won the Super Bowl. So
that's right.
Every loss, I think you got to learn from it and grow from it, right? And then move on. So we can't dwell on this. We don't even remember. I mean, I remember the Colts beating us, but a lot of people don't, right? Not in February when we were playing for the Super Bowl. And so you can make there's a lot of times between now and February. November, December, January. I mean, we got 4 months.
That's right. The sky's not falling. They'll figure it out.
Well, Skyy Moore sucks, but
well, maybe he is. Good point.
You may need to delete that. I think this is a family podcast. This shouldn't be saying that word.
Oh, how dare you? How dare you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us in this episode of the Kingdom Corner. Man, according to Dale, maybe things are falling. I don't know. But thanks for joining us. This episode is brought to you by Ohay Threads. A portion of every purchase goes to support missions all over the world, one super soft tea at a time. We'll see you next time right here in the Kingdom Corner.